Because there's another live session.
Okay. So hello everyone, good evening and welcome once again to the second live section. We are all excited to see you here today. This is the second live section and it is the final section. And as always, my name is Fatima and I also have here with me my wonderful co-facilitator, Molly. Molly, do you want to
Thank you,
say
Fatima.
hello?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Molly Ramlachan, and I come from Durban. And for those of you who do not know, I'm an education consultant with the British Council, working with content creation. I specialize in instructional leadership. Over to you, Fatima.
Yeah, thank you very much, Molly. So my name is Fatima and I'm a teacher, an ICT teacher. I also work with UNESCO MGIEP as a master trainer for social emotional learning and a digital teacher course. So today we'll be doing a great check-in and recap. We are also going to look at what hybrid learning is. Then we are going to use UDL in a classroom and also in an assessment design. Then lastly, we are going to take your questions and troubleshoots on Framer Space. That is, if you still have issues that you want us to solve on Framer Space. So moving on now. So we are going to use a tool today, and the tool is called Nearpod. So I'm just going to explain how we are going to use it. So Nearpod is a tool that helps educators make interactive lessons, and it can be used either in a physical classroom or a virtual classroom. It works well on your personal computer and on your mobile device as well. So because in most cases you never can say, when you have large participants, you don't know what each person will use. So that's the good thing about Nearpod. So for your computer, if you're using a laptop, you only need to click on the link to join. But if you are using a mobile phone, you will need the code to join the class. So the activity that we are doing now is called Time to Climb activity. And this is how it works. A question like a quiz will come up and you need to answer the quiz. You will need to answer the quiz very quickly and correctly too. So the faster and more correctly you answer, the higher your tiny little avatar will climb up the tree. And the fastest person will be the winner of the game. So the link to the Nearpod is coming your way soon. So Molly, I can see you're excited.
I'm so excited. Okay, but I didn't put the code. Can I put the code in now?
Yes, please put the code. The code for those of you that will be joining Nearpod through your phone. You will need that code, but if you are joining through your laptop, just click on the link. That's all. Just click on the link if you are using.
So are we leaving the Zoom to join the Nearpod?
Are you using your phone?
Yes.
Okay, so that means you can leave the Zoom to join Nearpod. If you are using your mobile phone, then you can come back later.
Okay.
Yes. Then you can come back later. So for those who are joining through a laptop, you don't have to leave Zoom. Is that okay? What's her name? So who just responded now? Okay. If you are finding it difficult to join the Nearpod, please let us know in the chat box. Yes, if you are using your mobile phone, please use the code. The code has been posted. Divine, there's no audio problem with us.
Yeah, the audio is clear.
Yes, please check your phone. Make sure you join the audio on your device. Okay, no, Molly, this particular link you dropped is just the installation link. Oh, this link is not to join. This
Okay.
is, so that was the right code, I can see that, but the main link has TAEF with it. It's the last link I sent to you today.
Okay.
So this particular link you sent is just the down.
TAEF.
Yes.
Hello, TAEF, right?
Yes. No, number 3, then there's a number in front of TAEF.
Yes, yes.
Then please, before you join the airport, please make sure that you are clear with all the instruction I just gave you now before you go and wait for us there.
Okay.
Okay. Let me copy what I have. Molly, have you seen the link now?
So you gave me on the private chat, you gave me the
link. Okay. Okay, let me just post it from here.
wait, okay, I'll put it in.
Have you seen it?
This is what you
Okay.
sent me.
So it's not down. Okay, sorry. So that one you posted was for download. It's not for the class. Yes,
Okay.
that's this is the correct link now.
Yeah, there's it, sorry.
Sorry about that. So the right link has been posted now. So we're just going to wait for more people to join the airport. So let me check Nearport from my end here now and see. Don't forget, if you're using your mobile phone, just use 3TAEF. So let me check what's going on in the, okay, I can see people now. I can see people. So once you have signed in, just enter your name, register your name on the tool. Okay, I can see people. I can see a few people here. 1, 2, 3. I can see 7 people. So let's just wait for a few more people to join before we start. And please, if you're able to join Nearpod, if you are in it, please give us a thumbs up. If you're able to join Nearpod successfully, please give us a sign that you have joined so that we can start. We'll post the link again for those. Okay, Adenike is in it already. Thank you, Adenike. So we are just waiting for a few more people. Let me repost the code. For those who may be joining through their mobile device. If you are struggling with the tool, please let us know if you are struggling. I can see just few people in the class now. Oscar, have you joined Nearpod? Okay, now audible. Makanu says Nearpod is not responding. Lynette, please, what are you using to join? Are you using your phone or your laptop? Your phone? Have you downloaded the app before now? You need to download the app.
I think perhaps people haven't downloaded the app.
Yes, and
we reminded them.
I gave them, and not everybody is in the WhatsApp group.
Oh.
So many people did not join the WhatsApp group. Thank you, Mr. Willis. Please download Nearpod if you have not already. We'll be starting shortly. So I guess the people that have not downloaded it, I'm sure they are not, yes, from Play Store. Oscar, download it from Play Store. Device, yes. Yes, Herbert says, do I have to leave Zoom for me to join the airport? If you are joining using your phone, then you may have to leave the Zoom first. But we are going to give you a signal. I think in the next 2 minutes, I think we can just start and go ahead. Let me see how many people have joined successfully now. Okay. I'm also going to project the screen from my end so that you can see what I'm saying. Okay, so let me stop sharing this particular screen. And I'll share my Nearpod screen now. Please, if you are just joining us, please go to Nearpod and sign in right now. Use the link in the chat box or use the code. Okay, so let me share my Nearpod screen. Okay, Molly, can you see my screen, the Nearpod screen?
No, I'm not seeing it. Maybe.
You should be able to see it
Still
now.
saying, please wait for teacher to start lesson.
Sorry?
It's still telling me please
Okay,
wait
in
for
your
teacher.
Nearpod, but can you see my Nearpod screen that I'm sharing on Zoom right now?
Oh, yes, I can.
On Zoom.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen now so that you can see what I'm saying from the teacher end now. This is my screen.
Yeah, sure, we can see that.
Yes, blessing. Yes, I'm going to start the lesson shortly.
Okay.
So this is my students list now. I can see all my students. I can see Firi, Herbert, Kabiru. I can see Prince Sowale. I can see Richard. So these are all my students. Okay. Philip says he can see the screen. So now, so like I said, this is Nearpod is a wonderful tool you can use in your class and it's free to use. You know, though there is a premium version, that is if you want more than 40 students to sign into Nearpod, then you may have to, you know, pay for the premium version. But this version that I'm using right now, Silver version, is a free version. And if you can see, this is my slides here, the slide for this meeting. Okay, I can see all my students very clearly. And these are my slides. I don't know if you can see the slide. Can you
Yes,
see
we
my
can.
slide moving? Yeah.
Yes, it's at the bottom.
So I'm just going straight now to our game now. The game is called Time to Climb. So I guess we are ready now. I'm going to just, okay, let me see what's in the chat box. No audio. Please, everyone, we are about to start the Nearpod now, and I'm going to launch the game any moment from now. I'm going to launch the game. I guess everyone is ready.
And Fatima, I think
Yeah.
if people don't have audio, then they should have clicked join with the computer audio.
Yes. Just click on join with the computer audio, and most times if you are using your mobile device, join with your device audio.
Yes.
Please.
And if they're having difficulty, they can always go out and come back in.
Yeah. So since we have already disabled, we have disabled the admission. Okay, so it's time to start now. So I'm just going to continue the game. Just like I said, you answer quickly, then you answer correctly. So we are just reviewing the concepts we taught you from the last live section. So I've continued the game. So now you are going to see a prompt, like tiny little characters prompting you to select it. So just select an avatar. Select an avatar, yes. I can see Paul. I can see Olamide, yes. I can see Rebecca is in. Evelyn is in. Adonija is in. Nurat is in as well. Princess is in. Great. Who else? Adenike Adekoya is in. Oh, I can see more green creatures. I can see Oriyomi, Paul. Great. Please, are you all in the game now? Molly, are you in the game?
No, I'm just observing.
Okay, you're observing. Okay.
Yes.
Please let me check the chat. I hope you are all ready to start the game now. I'm about to start it. Okay, more people are still joining. Okay, I can see Sandra in the game now. I can see Divine. Who else wants to come in? Just select an avatar. Okay, if nobody is joining now. So Molly, please help us monitor the chat as well.
Okay.
In case somebody is struggling. Okay, so more people are joining. I can see Fairy now. So just select an avatar. I can see Blessing. Blessing is in. Are you all ready now for the review? Just like I said, answer quickly and answer correctly. That is the rule of the game. I'm about to start the game now. So if nobody is joining again, I'm just going to hit the start button. Any other person? Okay, no one is coming in again, so I'll just start. So basically this game just runs itself once I click on start. Okay, so your game has started. You have just 10 seconds to answer the question. All learners are the same, true or false? And see, Adonija has answered the question already. You have 10 seconds. Great. So the next question is coming up. 3, 2, 1. Technology is an environment, not just its own. Is it true or false? I can see Paul. Okay, that's great. So Paul is leading right now.
Well done, Paul.
The next question. Digital pedagogy is beyond the use of digital content. True or false? Paul is really... Paul is really... Okay, Rebecca is now on top of the list. Next question. Okay. Integrating cell in classrooms does not improve learners' academic performance. True or false? Rebecca got that correctly. So Rebecca is on top of, she's on top of the game right now, followed by Adonija. So next question, this is the last question now. So providing multiple means of dash is one of the principles of UDL. Wow, Rebecca again. And Adonija. This is awesome. This is great. I think we have a winner already. Rebecca won the game.
Well done, Rebecca.
Well done, Rebecca. She had 3,400 points, followed by Richard, followed by Adonija. Then we have Paul. Paul got the first, then followed by Blessing, then Adenike Adekoya. This is awesome. So I'm just going to stop this here and we are going to move on. So we are going back to our Zoom section now. So I'm just going to stop that. Okay. So moving on now. Sorry, I'm going to just stop the music. Thank you, Nearpod. Yes. Thank you very much, everyone, for your active participation. So we are moving on now. I'm just going to share my screen with the current slide that we are in now. So I hope we all had fun with that, with the game, with the Nearpod. Oriyomi says a call came in and distracted me. Who said I accept defeat?
Anindo.
Gianna says my network is terrible. That is just one certain about Nearpod. You must have a strong network before you can use Nearpod. If your network bandwidth is low, you may not be able to use Nearpod in your classroom. Congrats to Rebecca. Rebecca just aced everything. Adenike also tried in the game. Yeah, so that is what Nearpod is, and it's really, it's a fun way for you to, to do a review of your last lesson thoughts, before you start a new lesson. And you know how students of today are, they like it when you introduce fun to the lesson. So moving on now, we are going to invite you to answer the question, what is hybrid learning? Lesson said the game was really fun. So please, if you want, we would request you to answer this question either using the chat box, or you can raise your hand if you want to unmute yourself and share. Thanks, Rebecca. I hope you can see my screen, Molly.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so what is hybrid learning? Have you ever heard that word before? Please respond either using the chat box, or you can raise your hand if you want to unmute yourself and share. Let us know what you think about hybrid learning. Also, feel free to raise your hand if you want to share as well. Yes. Okay. Oscar says, hybrid, okay, it's a combination of online and traditional modes of learning. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Oscar. Jaela says it's a combination of learning technology. Yes, any other response before we move on? What is hybrid? Feel free to raise your hand if you want to unmute and share as well. Okay, Rebecca says hybrid is a combination of both synchronous and asynchronous learning in both online and face-to-face learning. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. Any other response on hybrid before we move on? I think, okay. Blessing says hybrid is a combination of both virtual and face-to-face. We are all, in fact, we are all great technologies in this group. Yes, it combines, but Violet says it combines online and face-to-face learning. Then Lynette says hybrid learning is the improved kind of learning through online and face-to-face. Olufumilade says it means learning with physically and online at the same time. Wow. You are all correct. You are all correct. So there's no perfect, yes, it's a combination of online and traditional learning. Actually, there's no perfect definition of hybrid learning, but let's just move on. So we have like 4 major modes. There are so many other types, but we are going to concentrate on this 4 types of learning for now. So we have the face-to-face, which is the traditional kind of learning that is most common in Africa, you know. Many of us are familiar with this. Then we also have the blended learning. So the blended learning, in this case, the core of those learning takes place physically, but usually online learning also supports this model. Then we have the hybrid learning, where students spend at least half of their time online, then the remainder is spent in a physical classroom. And of course, we have the online learning only, which only makes use of internet. And the online learning, it was common during the COVID, before the COVID era, online learning was not a common thing, but now we have come to embrace online learning. So just like you all rightly said, hybrid learning combines both physical and online learning. So moving on now to the next slide. So what really makes hybrid learning?
Sorry, Fatima.
Yeah.
I think just some people, everybody needs to be on mute.
Okay.
You can hear some background interference.
Okay. Can you mute them? Thank you, Mr. Willis. It says the all-round learning where the learner makes himself available and the learning in combination with technology. Okay, let me see. Let me try to mute everyone from here. Okay. Yeah, so I just might have to just mute everyone, but okay. So Molly, if you want to speak, you can unmute yourself. Okay. Let me just mute all. Okay. So I've done that. So moving on to the next slide now. So I was talking about hybrid learning. So what makes hybrid learning effective? Only when the instructor plays an active role, in an online section, then and hybrid learning will be effective. And also the teacher has to engage in discussion activities to encourage and engage the learners. You need to ask questions regularly and also share useful information while doing active follow-up on the learners. So moving on now, what does hybrid learning help us to do? You see, if you look at the structure on your screen, you see a man, with, like an engineer doing a construction. So this picture is trying to tell us something. Hybrid learning creates more opportunities to apply universal design for learning, many of us are already familiar with the UDL principle, just like we said in the last section. You see, you can support the majority of learners through effective use of technology tools. So now the idea of introducing it to hybrid learning is not just, for you to get the right definition of hybrid learning. So we want you to look at your lesson plan henceforth and ask yourself, what does this lesson plan really look like? It's important to see how your technology tools are interacting with each other. Ask yourself, okay, is this lesson plan really addressing the principles of UDL? Is it addressing the principles of learners' variability? So the idea of understanding and mapping this whole hybrid scenario is to make sure that the practice of digital pedagogy improves. So if you do more face-to-face learning, or you do less blended learning, or whatever kind of combination you are using, the skill is to check it against how much of UDL you are using, how much of digital pedagogy are you using at the moment, and then check to see whether you need to shift to another side of the spectrum so that digital pedagogy can be better used in your lesson plan. So please, let's keep this at the back of our mind as we move on now to the next slide. I want you now to take a close look at your screen. You are going to see 3 images of a brain. What can you remember from this image? I'm sure I explained this image in the previous section. So I would invite you to answer either using the chat box, or you can also raise your hand if you want to unmute and speak. What do you remember from this image? Yes, you can respond using the chat box. I can see engagements, I can see representation, and I can see action and expression. Does this remind you of anything? Waiting for your responses. Or it reminds you of nothing. Yeah, thank you. Jayola says 3 types of learning in the brain. Thank you, Jayola. Any other person, what does this remind you of?
Hello.
Yes. You can unmute yourself and
They are
share.
part of pillars of planning.
Parts of. Can you say that again, please? Okay.
Pillars of planning.
Yeah.
Pillars of
Pillars of.
learning.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Learning.
Learning.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the
Kabir says
pillars.
it reminds me of Bloom taxonomy. Sandra says, what happens in the brain when a lesson is taught and the interaction in the brain, the interaction the brain has with lessons. This is awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for this response. Thank you so much. I think we are all at par with this. I've also says neuroplasticity. Okay, that's correct as well. That's correct. Neuroplasticity, that is the brain behaves like a neuroplastic. Yes, neuroscience. Leader says neuroscience research findings. Then Mr. Chinada says, what happens in the brain when learning takes place? This is awesome. You are all correct, absolutely correct. So with this now, we are going to move on to the next activity, the UDL activity. Actually, everything you are seeing here is a picture of the brain, and just like you said, it is what happens in the brain when a learning is taking place, and everything is based on the 3 major principles of universal design of learning, which is a learning that takes into consideration the the way most learners behave. Yes, step-by-step involvement of the brain after. Thank you, Olufumelade. And Violet says the principles of UDL. Thank you very much. So with this, I'll hand over to you, Molly, for the next activity. So
Thank
should
you.
I stop sharing my screen now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Fatima.
Yeah, you're welcome. So
Okay. So thank you very much. So what's going to happen now? We're going to get an opportunity to experience UDL through an activity. And then you will recall that on the chat, I asked people for volunteers, and we had not 1, not 2, but not 3, but 4 volunteers. So let's get right into it. Are you excited? And here is the activity. So we're going to have this experience of universal design for learning through an activity, as I explained. So here is the challenge for everyone. So I want you to imagine that you are a host at a dinner party. Okay? You have about 20 guests coming to your house. And of the 20 guests, 8 are children and 4 are the elderly. Now the question is, how will you ensure the food served suits everyone's preferences? in your discussion, I want you to keep this goal in mind. The goal is 3 things to keep in mind to meet the needs or the food preferences of your guests. So that's the goal that you are working towards. And you have 3 options. Firstly, you can use the chat. Secondly, you can listen in. And finally, you can participate verbally. And for the verbal participation, we have Almeida, we have Mumsy, we have farming, and we have somebody by the name of A. We don't know who that is. We like them to tell us who they are. So who's A? A, part of the A team maybe? So I don't want you to worry about time because you have between 5 and 6 minutes for this activity, and I will keep time for you. So feel free to start your discussion and I will let you know about the time. So give me a thumbs up if you're clear about the task. So 20 guests are coming, 8 are children, 4 are the elderly. How will you ensure that the food that you serve suits everyone's preferences? And the goal is 3 things to keep in mind to meet the guests' food requirements. So, Almeida, Mumsy, farming, you can unmute and you can start your discussion. Maybe you can start one at a time.
Molly, I think we should ask if they are even around. Maybe they should give us a thumbs up if they are around.
Yes, that's what I said. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. And if they're not around, that's also fine because other people can also go. Great. Sandra, great. So Sandra, you can start speaking. Who else do we have? Princess, lovely. So Sandra, Princess, you can start the discussion. We need 2 more people. Or even 1 more is fine. To unmute and Okay, blessing.
So we need, okay.
Right, we've got blessing. We've got Lynette, we've got Princess, and we've got Sandra. So we've got 4 people. You can start your discussion now, and I will start.
Okay, but from this, sorry, from this chat, the instruction is not clear to what these people are going to do.
Yes.
I think from the chats.
Yes.
Adonija is asking that information about 8 guests have not been given.
Yes, so that is the discussion now that you need to have. It's all you need to know that the 8 are children and 4 are elderly. So this is the scenario. So based on that scenario, 3 things to keep in mind to meet the guests' food preferences. Okay, you can start your discussion now. Go for it, unmute and you can start speaking.
Okay, the people that wants to indicated that they want to partake in this activity. This is now your time for this activity. Please unmute yourself and share. And this is the activity on the screen. You have this scenario and you're supposed to work on it.
Okay, and thank you, Rebecca, for your contributions. Rebecca, you can feel free to unmute and also share your ideas, seeing that the other people who have volunteered are not here. So unmute. We want some people to have a verbal discussion. So unmute and let us know. And thank you for everybody who's contributing on the chat as well. That's fine. But we want to listen to the voices. Great stuff. Divine, you want to share? Yes, go ahead. It's a discussion. You are going to engage with the discussion, right? With Lydia. Lydia can come into the discussion. Anindo can come into the discussion. So we want a discussion between about at least 3 people. Thank you.
Everyone is culture because culture
Okay. Your sound is not very, very good. We're struggling to hear you.
Hello, Divine, can you hear us?
Divine, I think Divine has dropped off. Can we have the next person, please? We got Herbert, Lydia, Anindo. Can you unmute? Rebecca, I know some people have challenges in terms of connectivity. Rebecca, how about you?
Okay, I'm seeing more responses in the chat box.
Yeah, beautiful responses coming in, but we'd like people to unmute and have a discussion as well.
Yeah.
All right, can I give one way in which we can
Yes.
do this?
Yes, please
Yes.
go
All right.
ahead.
Yes, we want you to have a discussion with another person. Can we have one more person that can discuss with you, please? So you share ideas between yourselves.
All right. Anyone?
Who do we have?
Can I
Okay,
join?
Okay, go on.
Okay. So the first thing that we would do is would have variety of dessert. You make sure that you include a diverse dessert spread to satisfy different sweet tooth cravings. You also do survey guests. You need to find out what is their preference before you prepare, so that you don't prepare that which the guest will not partake. My colleague, you can come in.
Hello.
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 Yes,
This
we
is
can hear you.
Following.
this is Juma. The best approach for this would be having to prepare a variety. The sample in different forms, so that when the guests come in, you don't have to go and struggle to prepare again, but they can pick from what has been presented in variety. That would be the best approach.
Okay, I'm just going to pause you now. So what you'll need to decide is what 3 things to keep in mind to meet the guest's food preferences, what the food preferences. And Lynette also indicated she would participate. So that's fine, you can join the discussion as well. So try to summarize what 3 things you would consider. Okay, I'm starting the clock again. Please continue.
Prince, you can go
Hello.
ahead to
Hello.
summarize.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't get you quite clear in the last statement.
Molly, did you hear that? He didn't get the last instruction clear, as in they summarizing.
Okay, yes, they need to summarize 3 things to keep in mind to meet the guest food's preferences. So they need to agree.
Okay, one main thing that I'll keep in mind to meet the guest food preferences is that they are all different. The kids, the children, and the elderly are not the same, and they don't have the same, maybe say, eating habits, and they also have different preferences. So I'll have to keep in mind that I am dealing with a kid and an elderly person. That is the main thing that I'll keep in mind before preparing for the guests.
Yes. Okay.
The others can come in.
Okay, I can see.
Right. Just,
Okay.
just to add on to what my colleague has said, I think we also need to gather information on the dietary preferences and restrictions beforehand. Like before they come, we need to get this information. And we also need to offer a diverse menu with options for vegetarians, vegans, yeah, and so on. Thank you.
So just remember, you're not talking amongst each other. You're not talking to the facilitators. It's a discussion amongst yourselves. Okay, you're fine. Some beautiful responses coming in on the chat. We can see and we acknowledge your responses. Lovely. Okay, thank you very much to those who participated in that discussion. I know there were some audio problems and in terms of connectivity. So let's pause for a while and let us.
I think I've sent my own on the chat.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those lovely contributions. And we have looked at those contributions and many people were on task. So fantastic. So what we're going to do now, we're going to pause for a while and we're going to try to make meaning of what just happened. Remember, Fatima spoke about UDL, Universal Design for Learning. So let us reflect on that activity. She spoke about engagement, representation, and she spoke about action and expression. So the question is, was everyone engaged in the same way? That is my question. Did we all engage in this activity in the same way? Fatima says no. How about the others?
No.
No?
Yes.
So how was it different? What different ways of engagement was there?
Definitely, everyone was not engaged in the same way because some preferred to respond by chatting, the chat box, and some preferred by responding via the audio. So the engagement was not in the same way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that contribution. And you hit the nail on the head. So some people preferred to use the chats and others were engaged, as you said, via the audio, so they engaged verbally. And then this may be some others who just listened. So that is also part of an engagement, also part of communication. And then also remember Fatima said the instructor plays a very important role. So here you would have noticed the facilitator coming in, guiding you, giving you time, keeping you on time, and also focusing you on the task that you needed to complete. And those are like, what are the 3 things that you need to keep in mind when you are preparing the menu? So thank you very much. That was fantastic. So let us look at representation, what Fatima spoke about in terms of the whole brain activation. Think about representation. Were you using your own experience of hosting a food party when you were given this task, when you were given this scenario?
Well, I would say that I would do some research before I even start the preparation in the scenario of the 4 children. 8 children and 4 elderly. I'll do some research before I start the preparation.
Okay, but I'm talking about this activity. You didn't have time to prepare. You were given this activity, right? And you have to think on your feet. So did you use your own experience? You know, when we're mentioning certain, like for example, people were saying they need to consider vegetarian options and the different the requirements for the elderly and the children. So did you rely on your own experience, or maybe of hosting a food party, or maybe attending a party? And this question is to everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. So that's what so when you think about representation, it's about activating the background knowledge. So your background knowledge about hosting a food party, or perhaps attending a party where there was food, you go back and you look at that. Also think about the scenario that I gave you, okay? In that scenario, you had a text where you could read it. Then the facilitator read it. So some preferred to read, others would have preferred to listen. And then you would have noticed on the right-hand side, there was a visual representation of food. So the information or the activity, the scenario was presented to you in 3 different ways: via text, verbally, and via a visual image. Right? So when you're designing your lessons, think about the different ways in which you can represent information. For example, if you're doing a poem, you may read out the poem, you may have an audio recording of the poem. And so these are different ways of presenting information. And finally, let us look at, think about action and expression. Now, in action and expression, when you think about the 3 pillars of universal design for learning, I want you to think about action and expression. The question is here, did you feel like you were, there was a goal that you were working to, right? Was there a goal that you were working to? You can respond or you can unmute. So we're in that scenario, in that activity, were you working towards a goal?
Yes, I'd say I was working towards a goal of getting the meal for the 2 different age groups, that is the children and the elderly. So I was guided towards delivering to the children and the elderly. Thank you.
Thank you. And Indo says, yes, the goal was to cater for everyone. And that was the goal, to cater for the needs of everyone's preferences. Fantastic. And so, and also you notice the facilitator was also there to bring you back on task. So try to summarize what are the 3 things that you would keep in mind, and then we'll start to summarize and stay focused on the goal. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for the responses, some lovely responses. The main goal was to feed the guests. Yes, it was to feed the guests, but more importantly, to cater for the different preferences and what 3 things that you would keep in mind. Fantastic. Thank you for those lovely responses. So let us look at what Fatima was talking about. And here are the universal design for learning. Here are the checkpoints. And you will remember last week, we spoke about learner variability. And learners have different preferences, different abilities, they have different backgrounds and experiences, they have different talents. And in designing the lesson, we take this variability into account. And we use technology to enhance the learning. And essentially what we're trying to do is to break down the barriers and to cater for the needs of all the learners in our class. And the role of the instructor is to support, to keep them motivated. So if you look at engagement, you have to ask yourself, when you did that activity, was it purposeful and motivated? So if you look at so in engagement, we're looking at purposeful and motivated. Then representation, right? Multi-means of representation. Present information, present content in various ways so that learners can become resourceful and knowledgeable, because we are trying to create expert learners. Expert learners meaning they are purposeful, they are motivated, they are resourceful, they are knowledgeable. So we use these different methods to make sure they become expert learners. And finally, action and expression. It must be strategic and it must be goal orientated and always supporting the needs of the learners. So these are the pillars of universal design for learning, taking them into consideration in your design. And here, what do you make of this cartoon? What do you make of this cartoon? What is this cartoon? What message does this cartoon have?
Okay, Molly, we are saying, can you present a full screen for the, I can see two things on my screen. Like,
Okay.
yeah. So which of them are you referring to?
Okay, can you see the cartoon?
Okay.
Can you see the cartoon?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So have a look at the cartoon.
Yes.
And what do you make of the cartoon?
I think they were trying to look for a way to climb the stair. That's the staircase.
Okay. But what's the problem?
Okay.
Can you see this person? Can you see this person here?
Rampe.
Yes. There's a ramp there, yes.
Okay. So
So what does he say?
Okay.
Could you please shovel the
I-
ramp? All these other kids are waiting to use the stairs. When I get through shoveling them off, then I will clear the ramp for you. The response is, but if you shovel the ramp, we all can get in. So what's the point that is being made?
Okay, in the cartoon, the guy in red
Yes.
wants to solve a problem, but is not aware that the problem that will solve, the one that is waiting to solve later, will hit all of them at once. He's putting it, the guy in wheelchair, he feels like that is his own problem, so he can wait for others to get in first before he can be assisted. But knowing that
Absolutely.
when he assists the guy in the wheelchair, then definitely it will be assisting the rest of them. So you can solve the problem at once and solving that in bits. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. What a cogent, what a clear
they have
response.
to enter at the same time. And so they are
Yes,
looking way out.
absolutely. Just by shoveling the ramp, and that's what universal design for learning is telling us. By clearing the ramp, we will cater for the needs of all the learners, right? And everybody will be able to enter. So that is why when we plan our lesson, we don't plan for a few, we plan for everyone. We say we plan at the edges so that the learning we break down barriers so that all learners can participate in a meaningful way and make the learning more impactful, make the learning meaningful. Right. I'm just reading your responses. They're fantastic responses. Thank you. Okay. So let us move on. Thank you for that. So let us look at, we'll call them the 3 children. And these children typically represent children who you would find in a classroom anywhere across the world. Okay. So the question is, what tools might work best for which learner. But as we said, learner variability, each learner is different. So what tools will work best? So in your response, you can say blue shirt, or you can say pink shirt or yellow shirt. So the first learner doesn't like to participate verbally during the class. The one in the middle with the pink shirt has difficulty keeping track of tasks and assignments. And finally, the learner in the yellow shirt has trouble reading texts, especially with pronouncing or understanding the meaning of big words. So, what digital tool can we use to assist each of these learners? So you can go ahead and put your responses in the chat box. Pink shirt, Google Calendar. Yellow shirt, you can use Padlet, right? I see making reference to what we already used in session 1, where everyone can participate. Great responses. Wait for more responses. Padlet, Google Meet, yes. Yeah, multimodal tool, but what multimodal tool? We want to be specific here. Yellow, you can use a recording. Brilliant. You can also unmute and share. What other tools could we possibly use to enhance the learning in the hybrid setting to cater for the needs of all the learners? Yes, we got yellow user recording. Any other responses? Blue shirt written assignments, fantastic. Padlet is coming in a lot. Google Calendar. Kahoot. Lovely. What do you think about the responses, Fatima?
This is great. I think our participants here are highly, they are very, very used to technology.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Very, very
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
and
everyone.
Really, yeah, and really fantastic technology. So let's take a look and you'll see exactly how you responded. There you can see. Can you see that? Padlet, which you already mentioned, via text, having difficulty keeping tracks. We've got Google Calendar. Also, you got Google Classroom, where the teacher can help learners to stay on task. And you also got a tool that has text to voice as
if you
well.
can hear me,
And
you're Indian. Stop teaching.
Okay.
sorry?
Sorry, I need to, there are some noises in the background. I may have to.
Google Classroom is fine. Yes. Lab Exchange, some fantastic responses coming through. So you have a whole array of tools that can assist you in catering for the diverse needs of the learners and to break down those barriers. That's what we're ultimately aiming for.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. And here is a good summary of universal design for learning, is that by incorporating universal design for learning, where we plan for the edges, where we plan our lessons to cater for the needs of all children, and including universal principles in hybrid learning, educators can create a more inclusive, a more flexible environment through choice. Remember, we offered you a choice in how you participated in the activity. Just like that, we want to offer the learners a choice in how they want to participate according to their preferences. And as I said, it accommodates for the diverse needs and the learning styles of all the students And ultimately, we want learners to discover for themselves how best they can learn. What is the best way that they can learn so that we can optimize learning?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Molly.
Brilliant. And you want me to stop sharing?
Yes, please, you
Yeah.
can stop sharing your slide.
Okay. And over to you, Fatima.
So now, thank you very much for that section, Molly. So as we are rounding up now, we are going to ask you some questions. What kind of assessment tools do you currently use in your classroom? What kind of assessment tools do you use in your classroom? You can either respond using your chat box or you can unmute and share. Which of these assessment tools, the one you can see on your screen now, which of them do you currently use? That's the question. Okay, so waiting for your responses. I can see Kahoot, but I don't know if that response is for this or for the previous. Okay. Abolarin says Edmondo. Mr. Chinyada says formative. Okay, formative assessments. Then Prince says quizzes. Quizzes. Blessing says seesaw. Great. That is awesome. Okay, more responses are coming in. Kahoots. Anne says Kahoots, Mentimeter, quizzes. Okay, more people are using quizzes. Adonija says Kahoots. Kahoots. I can see more responses for that. So great, all these are great assessment tools, and we encourage you to use many of these, tech tools for assessments. They are really awesome. So as right now we are rounding up this section already, and we'll be taking your questions and answers now. If you have questions and answer, questions. This is the time. Okay, Google Classroom. Ivan says he uses Google Classroom. Yes, that's very good. Very good tool as well. Very good tool. So if you have questions concerning Framer Space, concerning this section that we just had, this is the time to take your questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Fatima, do we have a due date? I think you put it on the chat, but maybe
yes, we have a due date, and the due date is 2nd of February. 2nd of February. Please take notes of that. That is our due date. 2nd of February. If you also have questions regarding Framer Space, this is the time now. This is the time to ask.
Hello, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Yes, my name is Lide Jayolapo. I quite appreciate your efforts through the 2 sections we have had so far. It is really educative and informative. Even the lesson I'm going through is awesome.
Okay.
And I'm trying to digest everything that I have not been able to finish the course because I'm taking my time to really take in most of the things. Now, my question is this. Looking at the principle of UDL, I want to know, is it possible for an educator to know all these digital tools that are available, based on the fact that we have variability in our learners?
Okay.
And we also have tools that can take care of them. But is it possible for us to know all of them into two? Because even in this course, I've been able to add to the list of digital tools I've known before. So I'm just wondering whether there are still some that I don't even know. So is it possible?
Can I answer that question?
Okay, let me answer the question. Let me answer the question now. So actually, even if you don't use all the tools, it's not compulsory for you to use all the tools at once. So even if it's either one, okay, if you know 2, 3, or 4, you have to look at your setting. Okay, do you have a good network bandwidth where you are? Do you have good internet connectivity? Are your learners, do they have mobile devices? You know, you need to consider all this. So just take into consideration what is common among your learners. And what will everybody be able to use at the same time? If, for instance, my learners don't have good internet connectivity, or if they don't have mobile device, then I may not be able to use tech tools, you know, to reach out to them. Then that means I will just, you know, make do with what I have. I can use my own tech and just use it in the classroom. I can use my own device and just project it. That is, if my learners don't have tech tools. So you have to use what majority of your learners have, what we cater for majority of them. It is possible like that 1 or 2 of them have devices that they can use to partake. But if majority don't have, then you are not catering for UDL, then it is not universal. So if you look at the universal design for learning, for instance, you will see like each of like the what, the why, and the how of learning. There are different frameworks. We have so many frameworks under each section. So just go through each of the framework and look at, you can just pick 1 or 2. You don't have to use everything. Pick 1 or 2 that relates to majority. That the key word is majority, that okay, I want to reach out to more people. Maybe for instance, if you have 50 learners in your class, okay, if you can reach out to 40 or 45, that's fine. You have reached out to majority. Just pick a principle or a tool that will reach out to majority. That's the principle. That's what UDL is about. Universal design that caters for majority of learners. And just like I said before, you don't have to use all the tools. So consider what is prevalent among your learners. What is prevalent among them? Does everybody have digital device? Does everybody have internet connectivity? Yes or no? So just think about all those things. So you don't have to use all the frameworks. I can see more hands up. Molly, do you want to say something to?
No, Evans and Beatrice has the hair. I think you covered it quite well.
Okay, so Beatrice, you can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much for the training. I so much appreciate, and it has at least enlightened me the more. Now, my question goes as, I'm working in a public school.
Okay.
And in that public school, we have students of like 50, 55 in a class.
Sorry, Beatrice, is that noise from your end?
Oh, sorry. So in a public school, we have students of like 50, 55 in a class.
Okay.
And I have 3 categories of students in my class.
Okay.
Like those that really want to learn, those that don't have interest in it at all, and this. So now, and in that situation, I have parents that don't even have interest at all in buying phones or gadgets for their students. Sorry, their children, for learning. Do you get?
Okay.
Now, as a teacher, what do you think I can do that will help these so-called students and they'll be able to engage in this digital learning?
Okay, sorry, Beatrice, is this noise coming from your background?
Yes, it's my children.
Okay, please, we have to mute. We have to mute you. Sorry. Did you get that question, Molly?
Yes, we got the question.
Okay.
I think it's a great question. I think the question that Beatrice is asking is a question on many people's mind. And as you said, these are typical classrooms. So I think this is where universal design for learning comes in, because it's purposeful, and it's motivational, it's goal orientated, and it creates an excitement because we are breaking down. And it's often learners, students are not engaged because they find the content not relevant.
Yeah.
For example, when we started the game on Nearpod, everybody was excited about it. So that's what learning is about. It's about getting students excited. It's about using the UDL approach, breaking down the barriers and appealing to not just the average, but planning the lesson for the edges where everybody feels valued and learning is rich for everybody.
But, okay, but did you hear what she said concerning, like, if you have a case where she teaches in a public school where she has about 50 learners and there are no devices, and even the parents are not willing to, to cater for this, that what would you do in such a case to engage the learners?
I think you already addressed that question, Fatima. You said where the teacher can
Mhm.
use his or her device in the
Yes.
classroom.
And
And just by changing and playing videos and
Yeah.
showing the PowerPoints, you bring in
Yeah.
that mix. Because yes, that is a real issue. And across the world, teachers are grappling with it and they are finding solutions as well.
Yes, yes. So, Evans, you can go ahead now. You can unmute
Thank
yourself,
you.
Evans.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good evening.
Good evening, Evans.
Thank you so much. Lily, it's true that knowledge is power. Otherwise, me, I've learned a lot of things. And thank you for your effort. Otherwise, we have learned a lot of things. For me, it is not necessarily a question. I just want to assist my colleague who was talking about, is it possible to use all the tools at once? I appreciate your feedback. It is not a mandatory that we need to use everything at once, but it is to our own advantage that we need to know these tools and how to use them, because we never know what tomorrow will bring. Like in our case, in fact, I'm in Zambia, Lusaka. We were supposed to open schools on 18th of this month. Now, because of the cholera outbreak, the opening date was postponed to 29th, which is the coming Monday. Unfortunately, yesterday, the minister also announced that because the cases are still increasing, the date were also postponed to next month, 12th or February 2024. Now, because of these tools that we are learning, these digital pedagogies that we have learned, today we had a meeting and we have decided that we can't just relax like this. We can't waste time, because time wasted never recovered. Yeah. Today we have decided to go online. Then we said we are going to use Google Classroom to deliver our lesson to our students, to give what we need to offer to our students. So without having such a knowledge, it is very difficult for us to help our students during the pandemic. So I just want to encourage our colleagues that we need to pay attention. Let us know these tools. We never know what tomorrow will bring. We may use them. As for me, next Monday, we are opening online classes. We are also going to use other platforms that I've learned from here, so that we reach out to our students and offer the services that we need to offer as educators. Thank you so much. I raise my case.
Thank you so much, Evans. Thank you so much. So just like Evans said, like, okay, it's the person that asked the question before Evans, he was saying that is it compulsory to know all the tools? So you see, if you know it is for your own advantage. And in most cases, you may not use everything at once. And just like Evan said, you never know the time that tool will come in handy. And you will just remember, oh, I learned this from digital pedagogy, and you just, bring something new, and everybody is happy that, they are engaged in that particular way. So just learn it, though you don't use everything at once. So in most cases, most of those frameworks is either you use 2 or 3 in a situation, then another time you use like 2 or 3 also. You don't use everything in complete, but it's good if you can learn majority of it just for your own good. Herbert, I think Herbert wants to say something. Your hand is up. Herbert, Do you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say something.
All right, please go ahead, Albert.
Thank you. This is Herbert Smiu. I'm from Kenya,
Okay.
in a place by the name West Pokot County.
Okay.
Just this week, we were having this program, RLM, that's Remote Learning Methodology, which is being sponsored by the government of Kenya. And I think the meeting was all over the country, where we were training as TOTs, trainers of trainers. And very soon we are going to the field to ensure that we also pass the knowledge to the teachers and other instructors within our country. So first and foremost, I want to applaud the program that you've had, because I used a lot of knowledge from this platform. And during that meeting, it was very easy for me to navigate, because most of the things that were being taught there are the same things that you guys are teaching us here. So for that, I want to give you a thumbs up for the program and say, actually, you are doing good work. And we know the only being that will reward you is God. Now, I have an issue with the use of these assessment tools, the Nearpod and the Kahoot. I know we've not learned about Kahoot here, but I found out that Kahoot and Nearpod works almost similar. They do almost the same. The way they are operated is the same. But my concern is, how do I create my own content and use Kahoot to do what? To assess my learners. Because what I've been seeing is that seems Kahoot is a programmed kind of app, whereby the questions that they pose are the questions that they have already set. I'm teaching a given strand, and I want to assess my learners on this strand using Kahoot. How do I navigate through that? That's my question.
Okay. So your question is, how do you navigate Kahoots, right?
How do I create my content on Kahoot and use it as an assessment tool?
Oh, great. So for that, because Kahoot was not among the two that we taught you here.
Now Nearpod.
Okay, so now Nearpod. So if you would want to learn how to use the Nearpod, though there are so many resources on YouTube that you can use to do that, but I can also show you an example of how I created my assessment here. If time permits us, maybe I'll just use 1 or 2 minutes to show you how to create your assessments using Nearpod. So I'm just going to show you that in a minute, but in the meantime, let's see if we have more questions. So from here, I can see so many questions in the chats.
Okay, I'm looking at the chat. Juma's hand is raised. Juma,
okay, Juma, do you want to say something? Hi, Juma.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Please go ahead.
Okay, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that we got to learn from you. And, I'm also from Kenya, by the way.
All right.
And the education system that our country is changing into is employing a lot of digital literacy. And this digital literacy moves from the teacher up to the learner. Mine was to appreciate. And then about the teacher in West Pokot, I have ever used Kahoot. And from my experience, the teacher is the one who creates the question to the learners and then shares to the learners after they all or a good number of them join to answer the question. That is my experience with Kahoot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Juma. I think there's another. Does anybody else wants to talk? Okay. Okay, there's a question here that Violet is saying. Violet says, I'm a bit concerned about the teacher in a public school with 50+ students. The response wasn't satisfactory. Yes, so the question about the teacher in the public school, please, do you want to repeat that question? What exactly was not satisfactory for you there? Violet, please go ahead. Thank Violet. Violet, go
Okay.
ahead, please.
Thank you, Fatima, and thank
Yeah.
you, Molly, for your time. My name is Violet. I'm a Kenyan teacher, but I don't teach in Kenya. I'm out of the country. So, as I said, I'm a bit concerned because the response was the teacher to use her device to assist the students. But her concern was that she has 50+ students.
Okay.
She has 3 categories. Some students are follow the lessons. Some students are less concerned. They are least concerned about the lesson. And then there are some students who are just there. They're not motivated. And this also affects the parents. The parents are not supportive. So when we tell her to use her device, we've not responded to her concern on especially the students who are least bothered on following the lessons. So
Okay.
her frustration comes in where she wants to do her best, but she has students who don't bother. And we experience this not just in public school, but even in private schools, international schools. We have children who just come to school because they want to come to school.
Yes.
They have to come to school, sorry. And there are those who come to school and they have a goal to achieve at the end of the day. So probably maybe she can just apply different approaches, for the different categories of students and give individuals to, not individuals, the different categories, different tasks to accomplish. And then she can see if most of them can be improving or changing their attitude towards learning. But when we tell her that to use her device, yes, she can use her device, but what of those who are just joyriding in the class? They wake up in the morning, come to class, go back home, nothing. So maybe to capture their attention, she can vary different strategies on how she can capture their attention and share tasks that she will expect them to accomplish and to see if maybe their attitude has changed. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, Violet. Yeah, sorry, we did not actually attend to this particular query about, how do you capture students that are not interested? This attitude is not a digital problem. This is now a social and emotional learning problem. Because you have 50 students, you have some are eager to learn, some students' attitude to learning, they are indifferent or they don't want to learn. And we also have their parents too. So there are other, so this is the social and emotional learning aspect. So if we have students like that are, their attitude to learning is poor, the first thing you need to, try to know, okay, what is the cause of this attitude? Why is such student not interested in learning? Or why is that student not interested in your class? Is it because that student is not being engaged? Or is it that that student has problems at home, probably that you don't know about? So this is a social and emotional aspect. So that means you have to get to know that student one-on-one first, get to know what is the cause of this attitude, and try to know this person one-on-one. Okay, what exactly is the problem? You have to know what the problem is first before you even try and solve it. It could be a financial problem, it could be an economic problem at home. So that is a different case. It is not the case of, okay, I want to teach you, I want to engage you using technology. So we said you can use the device. When we talked about using the device, it was just to address the problem of is in a class where many of them don't have devices and you want to teach a tech tool, then what can you do in such a case? So that was why we said the teacher can use a device and project a screen and try to engage the students. So that second aspect of students not, having an indifferent attitude to learning, or they just don't want to, that's a different case entirely. Molly, would you like to say add anything to this?
Yeah, no, great point. Because part of the question was about lack of devices, and yes, I
Yes.
agree with social emotion. But I'm just going to put in the chat, there's this great video where the teacher is getting to know the students. And
Yeah.
as you said, yes, it's social and emotional problem. But just by getting to know the students and getting to know their names
Yeah.
and just finding out a little bit more about them,
Mm.
and students get to feel valued. And some teachers have tried this approach, and research has showed that it has worked, because now you're getting to know the students on an individual level.
Yes.
And for UDL to work, UDL is not going to work if the teacher does not understand the learners. That is the starting point, where you got to know who are the students, who am I dealing with in this classroom, and really understanding their learning preferences, or giving them the opportunity to find out what their preferences are. So for me, it will be the critical criteria is about getting to know students, because research also suggests that this works.
Getting to know, and while you are getting to know them one-on-one, you get to know their interest as well. You get to know what do they really like to do. As in, okay, if a student doesn't like, for instance, doesn't like to take part in written tests, for instance, okay, you can just get to them one-on-one. Okay, if you don't like writing exams, do you like acting? Do you like video lectures? There must be something they like. So that is just the social aspect of learning, because learning is not just cognitive alone. There are so many different parts of learning. So when you see that they are not interested in your class or your lessons, you have to get to know them one-on-one, get to know them socially, and find out what's really interesting. There's something that interests every kind of learners. Just like we said in the last section, you can't engage everybody, all different kinds of learners, in the same way, in just one single way. There are different ways to engage every kind of learner. So just going back to UDL now, which is the universal design for learning that suits. So, okay, if you can't get one thing, okay, if for instance, telling them to write exam on papers does not work for everybody. Okay, what works for majority of them? And that's what you will use. So like I said again, get to know your learners one-on-one. Get to know them one-on-one and find out, because nobody is from space. Nobody is from we are all human beings. We all have general characteristics, So once you get, to know them one-on-one, you'll be able to know what will interest them, and you'll be able to address that challenge of a student not being interested in your class, or probably does not participate actively. When you know them, you'll be able to solve that problem. I hope that answers Blessing's question.
Fatima, sorry, I'm just mindful about time.
Okay, yes. So we are moving on now. For the near-pod, okay, let's just move on. We'll round off that near-pod question. I'm going to post a video. I don't know if Evans is in WhatsApp. I'm going to post a video on how to use near-pod on the group chat. So now we are going to reflect on the topic we discussed in today's section. So what new strategy or activity would you adopt immediately in your classroom? So Molly, would you like to put the link, Padlet's link, in the chat box? We are rounding up now because of time. Okay, thank you, Molly. No, this is the Menti. Sorry,
No.
Please delete that, the Padlets.
Okay.
Not the Menti. So we are going to use a Padlet.
I'm putting the Menti, sorry. You want the Padlet? Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Both.
So what's new strategy or activity would you adopt immediately in your class from what you have learned in this section? Have you seen the Padlet link?
Yes.
Yeah, please let me post that. I'm also going to.
Yeah,
try
there's
to
it
post
here.
it
It's
from-
in the chat.
Okay. So yes, that's it. Please let us know. I'm going to project my Padlet screen now. So for those of you who have not used the Padlets before, so you are just going to see how to use the Padlets. So what you have to do is just click on the, can you see my Padlet screen now? So you just have to click on this plus sign, then enter your subjects you will like, then write something, what strategy or activity that you have learned in this section, which of them will you adopt immediately in the classroom, in your classroom? So you can just write something like, I will say I will adopt, let me minimize this. So once you click on the screens, you can say I will use the nearpod activity. This is just an example. To engage students in my class. So after writing your entry, you just click on publish. So that is an example. So the question is, which new strategy or activity from what you have learned in this section will you adopt immediately in your classroom? So we'll just give you a minute to do this activity. Just do that within a minute. Our time is fast spent. So I'm just going to wait for few responses before we move on to close the section. I hope you can access the Padlet link. If you're having trouble, let us know, please. Only can you access the Padlet link?
Yes. There are responses there already.
Okay. I can see responses now. Okay.
I think maybe if you project your screen, the participants will be able to see the responses.
Okay, I'm just going to share the screen now. Okay. I can only see one response here. Okay, yes.
No, there were quite a few.
Yes. I can see more responses now. Thank you. I'll use Nearpod to engage my learners. I will utilize the UDL strategy. I will adopt the Kahoot and Nearpod in my class. So Juma says I will use Nearpod. It's fun and educative. Learners can get a reward. Yes, this is awesome. This is awesome. I will use several digital tools to engage my students. Okay, so because of time, we will still continue to respond to this in maybe we'll just post this Padlet so that people can continue to respond to this. So we have to take our closing reflection now. Just to, I think you can put the mention now. So the last thing we are doing now, we want to do a check-in, the final check-in to know how you are feeling before we close finally, how are you guys feeling? I think the Menti is already there, the Menti link. Just a final check-in before we sign off. How are you guys feeling? So you can either click on the link if you're on a laptop or use the code, the Menti code. You can see the code is already in the chat box, 77864738. That's the Menti code. The Menti link. Yeah. So just let us know how you are feeling as we round up in this section. So I'm just going to check the responses from my end here. Let me see. Oh, great. I can see the responses already. So I'm just going to project my screen from here now. Great. Fantastic. I feel awesome. Okay, we have just 9 responses. Educated, knowledgeable, excited.
Prince says I feel like a tech pro.
A tech
on the
pro.
chat.
This is awesome. I feel you are inspired. Awesome. That is great. Superb, educated, catching up. The link is active. Oscar says the link is inactive. The link is active. Oh, please.
I told him to try again.
Just click on the link or use the code. Click on the link that has digits in front of it. I can see responses. I can see 18 responses here. Someone says catching up. Great. I feel excited and ready.
Evan said, bravo, bravo, acquainted with knowledge. This is coming up on the chat.
Okay, thank you, Evans. More responses are coming in. This is awesome. So I think with this, it's glad to know that everyone is feeling great and happy and enlightened, excited, a digital manner, a tech savvy. So what is left for us to do now is simply go to our classrooms and, try to, show our students what we have learned from this digital training section. And so just for people, if you are in a place where maybe there's a breakout of any kind of disease, like for those that are going strictly online, so you have enough things now to use, and present to your students. Yes. More responses are coming. So this is awesome. Please. Someone said, I can't do the Padlet tax now. I have to leave the meeting before. Yes, you can do yesterday. You can do the Padlet tax later. You don't have to do it now. I'll just post the link in the WhatsApp group, or anytime you can do that. So with this, I think we can close with this now, Molly.
Yes. Yes, because we are over time.
Any final words from you, Molly, to our participants? Leader says it's a wonderful experience.
Yes. I think just to thank all the participants for their enthusiastic participation, for being so engaging on the chat, and also for allowing us to learn from you, because remember, we don't have all the answers. It's about learning from each other, about people on the ground. And this is what we say at UNESCO MG IEP. We don't have all the answers. It's about collective learning, and where we learn from each other. Yes, we share our knowledge, but we learn from each other as well. So it's about collective learning. And I think we must stress that point.
Yes, we'll learn collectively. We'll learn when we move together. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Richard. Richard says was an awesome experience. You guys are top notch. So we'll still continue to engage with you through our support. So somebody asked a question that what if they are not able to finish before the deadline, which is on 2nd? So if you are not able to finish your training on framework space, because that's the next thing we are leaving you, there is no more live section. So we are leaving you to your WhatsApp and framework space now. So if you are not able to finish by the deadline, because we have other cohorts that we train, we may not be available to support you technically again on framework space. So that's why we want you to finish on time before February 2nd, so that in case if you have issues with framework space or issues with downloading your certificates, we'll be available to help you with that. So that's the reason why you have to finish by that deadline, because after that time, you will still hear from us, but we will not be on top of it like we are with you now. So we also have other learners waiting for us that we need to attend to. So for this section now, this is the end of our live section. Then for the framework space by 2nd, you should be done with your certificates, and more information will also be passed through our WhatsApp group. Okay, Evan says, do we have any course coming up for this course? Like, please, we need knowledge. Knowledge is power. Yeah, there are more knowledge. Like, for instance, I said something about like the question, I don't know, was it someone asked the question that Violet now responded to? I don't know if it was Rebecca or so. She asked a question that, okay, what if she has a question of a case where learner's attitude is poor to learning. So there's a whole, and I mentioned cell, that this is social and emotional. So there's a whole thing. There's a whole knowledge on cell that you need to know. Once you have your cell knowledge, you'll be able to manage students that don't cooperate in class, because all students, they are not the same. Some of them,
Yeah, I put it on the chat.
Yes.
Fatima, I wrote it on the chat that the SEL course addresses this aspect.
So you also need the LCL course. Maybe anytime we are ready to launch that course, we will let you know. Somebody is asking for WhatsApp link. I sent the WhatsApp link to your mail, Prince. I sent it to everybody's mail. I don't know why you're asking for the WhatsApp link now. But Molly, do you still have that WhatsApp link? If we can, maybe we'll just paste that before we round up. How do you follow up on the use of tools amongst training? We'll follow up. We follow up through the WhatsApp group. We'll follow up on the. So let us know how you are using it. So you can do that on WhatsApp, then we can respond to that. Yetunde says, I have not been able to generate my certificates since yesterday. So that's IT issue. Is there another digital course? Yes, there is, Herbert. There's another digital course. But that is the long course. The course you just did now is a short one. So I'm just quickly going to paste the WhatsApp group before we say our final.
I think perhaps put it, okay, then you can access.
And this person is not on the WhatsApp group. So if I don't post this here, you may not have access to it. That's just it. So if there's, I'm just quickly going to look for it now before we close the day.
We have the email address, we can email the link.
Okay, email. Okay, please drop your email.
You can drop his email on the chat and I will copy
no,
and
I've
paste
seen the WhatsApp already. I'm dropping it now. I've already seen it. So in the next few seconds, you will see it now. So as not to waste our time, we are going to end the recording shortly.
Yeah, I think you should stop recording, but this is
okay. So
session.
I'm going to stop the recording now. So that is the WhatsApp link. So guys, we hope to hear more of you from the WhatsApp link. Remember, we are still available for you for the next 1 week. So let me just stop the recording here. So you guys, it was really nice having you around today.